Hello, ETF fans. Mike here with a video insight. Happy New Year to everybody out there. This is my first video of 2026. And one of my goals this year, one of the goals here at ETF Action is to do a better job educating in terms of understanding the ETF market, how to navigate it, how to research it, how to ultimately decide what ETFs are best for your portfolios. And to kick that off, here in the month of January, I'm going to do a series kind of all about our ETF channels. So at ETF Action, we break the ETF market, which is quickly approaching over 5,000 listed ETFs just here in the US, into 19 channels. That's 8 asset classes that break into 19 channels that break into hundreds of categories. And then we have all kinds of classifications that we add to ETFs in every channel to make it easier for our users to understand how to track the market through the lens of ETFs. So to do that, I'm going to do a little exercise where I go into our channels located on our content site. So if you're at etfaction.com, hover over the ETF channels and you'll see our 8 asset classes. Then as you go over each asset class, you'll see the different channels within that. So I'm just going to start at the top and work my way through this over the next several weeks. And starting off, we're going to start with US size and style. It's the largest channel by far, over $7 trillion in US size and style ETFs. And as you know, we provide lots of information for every one of our channels. If you just navigate to the page, we have a channel intro, we have an investment primer, and we have a link into our free dashboards to navigate that channel, as well as all these different reports to help you understand performance, flows, league tables. And then, of course, every week, we give you a snapshot of what happened in that channel. But today I want to just focus on how to think about navigating. So if you go into our channel intros, and I'm rewriting these as I do these videos. So this is freshly updated for the US size and style. And the channel intro is all about navigating using ETF Action's proprietary tools. So I'm not going to regurgitate what's on here for you, but what you'll find in every one of these new updated channel intros is how to go into our gated platform and set filters and build your own dashboards to best navigate these channels with the data sets that we provide to you. And then on the investment primer, we'll actually talk about our premium data sets, basically how to match up our classification system with the premium data that we license from FactSet to research and ultimately decide which one of the strategies best work for you. So to get started, there's really 3 major ways to navigate this US size and style channel. So I'm going to hop into our gated platform, and I'm going to go to our ETF under databases. I'm going to go to our navigator. And to make this easier for all of you, I'm going to set a couple quick filters to get rid of all the noise of all 5,000 ETFs. I'm just going to go to my filters button. Going to go into classification, set it on equity. I'm going to set the next one on equity, size and style US. So now I'm focused on that US size and style marketplace. And if I just leave it right at that, I'm already pre-set up to view kind of the classic way to view any channel, which for the US size and style channel, which is your 9 size and style boxes, right? So we can see $7.2 trillion broken down across US large cap, blend, growth, value, mid cap, your three styles, and then small cap and your 3 styles. So that's a great way as a starting point. However, this is just going to give you kind of that classic category information. We use categories to rank ETFs based on everything from expense ratios to performance and risk and everything in between. But honestly, the world has evolved. The ETF market is very much evolved. And a lot of times investors don't want to just think about the world in the 9 size and style boxes. So what's another way to think about using our classification system when navigating the ETF market? Well, I'm going to go ahead and remove asset class, remove composite, and remove category. So now I'm just looking at all the ETFs here. And, one of the common ways our users use our classification system is to group things up by segment, which is going to be broadly breaking everything into total market strategies, total market being a lot of large cap, but also those strategies that don't focus on one size discipline, They tend to be more weighted more towards large cap, but they'll include small cap names, mid cap names, and then extended market. So anybody that focuses beyond large cap to include mid cap and small cap. And once you've done that, you can see, of course, 6.2 of that 7.2 trillion is in that total market, with just a little over 1 trillion in an extended market. The next thing they will do is they'll go down and use our selection. Well, I can do strategy and selection to make it a little simpler. Strategy is then going to tell you, is this a beta strategy? S&P 500, Russell 1000, whatever it may be, or is it a factor strategy? A tactical strategy, meaning that it's using some sort of technical overlay to get in and out of the securities based on risk, or to rotate in and out of sectors or factors, things of that nature. And then finally, I'm going to pull down selection. And selection is going to go much more into detail. So what this will allow you to do is, let's say you're looking for a total market quality ETF. I can see that we have 20 ETFs tagged as having an objective of quality balance sheets for their selection methodology, or value, dividend, growth. So this is a great way if you're looking to, like, hey, I'm looking for quality. You can build this dashboard. You can track the trends. You can look at performance. If I just wanted to say, hey, year to date, what factors are off to a good start? I can see momentum's leading in the total market. With 3.53, value at 3%, that's a change. Growth is the bottom performing factor, or however you want to go about it. And then as you build these, they will create links to go in and actually evaluate these. So let's say I want to look at quality. Boom, I can click on that quality, and it's going to load those 20 ETFs into my database. And now I have access to all of our premium data sets, whether it's sector allocations, equity characteristics, our derived factor ratings, you name it. All that information will be available to you. But really, with almost 5,000 ETFs in the market, step one is being able to navigate it. Now, finally, kind of walk through 101, the size and style boxes, 201 being, breaking the market down more by factor exposures. But at the end of the day, the ETF market, there's one thing to have a label, a classification, or a name in an ETF. It's a whole other thing then to go and look at it from a derived perspective, like what is actually inside of the portfolio. And that's why we built our derived analytics, which, unlike our classification system, which is going to group up all of your ETFs based on, what prospectus states the investment objective is, what the marketing collateral of the fund tells you it is. And it's just going to look through to the underlying portfolio and tell you, what do they actually own. So to look at the market this way, we'll call this kind of ETF 301. I can go and kind of skip that whole classification side. I'll leave my filters on to make sure we're still looking at US size and style. But I'm going to go into Derived Analytics, and I'm going to group this up using my Derived Analytics. Since I already know that I'm using size and style, I'm going to go straight into my my market assignment, just so we can make sure that they're actually US. And you can see actually 22 of the securities we have classified as US meet our definition of global on a look-through basis, right? 40 ETFs, probably all newer ETFs we currently don't have look-through data on. Those will be always getting added by our data provider FactSet, but at all given times, there'll be a few that aren't there. And actually, just to make this cleaner real quick, I'm going to go down to my Derived Analytics filters. I'm going to set a quick filter on market and just say it's US. So now I'm only looking at those 7.2 trillion, 877 ETFs that we have look through analytics on. And now I can actually group this up using Derived Analytics. So I'm going to group up based on size assignment and style assignment. So if I wanted to see, small cap, now I'm still looking at those. I'm still looking at the 9 style boxes, if you will, But instead of doing it by the classification of the fund, I'm looking at it by the actual look-through analysis using FactSet data of the underlying holdings. And you can see it's a very different world, right? Like growth, for example, in the large cap space actually has far more assets than core, and that's because the S&P 500, the Russell 1000, all these large cap indexes right now have big growth profiles because they're so top heavy in that Meg 7 names. So it's just a different way, kind of a more sophisticated way to break down the market. And I don't have to do it by size assignment too. I could say, you know what? I'm going to break it down by size, but instead of style, I want to see, I want to see it broken down by all those portfolios based on quality tilt. And now when I come into my large cap, I'm going to see, okay, there's, the vast majority, 4.3 trillion and 430 ETFs have an average quality rating. There's 1.8 trillion with above average, just 38 billion, 31 ETFs and below average, and the only one large cap ETF, the American Century Focused Dynamic Growth ETF, actually has, when you look through basis using our proprietary system, a high rating when it comes to quality, which is a very high bar to make. But just another way to think about that classification. And if you're really using ETFs to break down the world, it's important to have some sort of process to say, how am I going to narrow down this universe of ETFs into buckets that I can track? So, just kind of as a recap, 101, traditional size and style boxes. You can get that right on our dashboards by going to equity size and style. 201, utilizing our more detailed classification system to break down by segment, by strategy, by selection using those classification fields. Or 301, forget about classifications altogether and think about what these portfolios actually hold and use our derived analytics. And then, of course, once you narrow down that universe, understand the market, you'll create links for yourself to go in and quickly identify those ETFs and do that deep dive research that you want on securities that meet that initial profile setting. So these are going to be a little bit longer videos, but I think it's important to really drive home the different ways to break down the market across these channels. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, reach out to team at ETF Action, and thank you for watching.